Hello, everybody. I'm going to show you the independent project for Excel Chapter 1. So without further ado, let's get started. I'm going to share my screen with you guys. And so, all right, this is the Chapter 1 independent project. I'm going to go ahead and download the start file. And it's going to ask me where. So I have my own folder structure. So I'm going to store it in 1070-443 projects. I'm going to save it. And once I save it, I'm going to open it. So like I mentioned in my previous video, I like to view my instructions and my file side by side so I can parallel process, I guess. So I'm going to try to get these two together. The only problem with minimizing these screens like this is you may not see the full option. So they'll still be there. You just won't see them. That's all right. So this is my file. So I'm going to go ahead and get started on the very first instruction. So open the start file and then enable editing needs to be clicked so I can start editing this. So once I do that, it's okay. So done. Apply the slice theme to the worksheet. So go to page layout, go to themes, and look for slice. So for whatever reason, because I think I'm using Excel 2016, so I don't have that theme. So it might be a possibility that they might happen to you too. So I'm gonna go ahead and show you how to download a theme that you don't have and go to templateoffice.com. Pretty much what I did was Google it and then I downloaded the template file, which I already downloaded it to my projects folder. So I'm not going to do that again. But once I have that theme template file, I'm just going to browse to it and I'm going to find it. And browse and open. So it applied the slice theme to my sheet. You may not have to do this step if you already have the slice theme. So I'm going to close out these tabs. So yes, I applied the theme. So edit the title in cell A2. So like I said, columns are named with alphabets, rows are named with numbers. So A2 corresponds to the second row of the first column. And display monthly sales by department. Right now it says first quarter sales by city. So my choice always is to copy this, but before I paste into Excel, I use Notepad, copy to Notepad, because when you try to directly copy from the website, it'll get all the formatting, including the font size, the font color, and the font type. So in Notepad strips out all that formatting and just gives me the plain text, which is monthly sales by department. Edit cell D6 to 1950. So D and 6 would be that, and 1950. Select A1 through F2, select the alignment launcher. Okay, so A1 through F2 would be that, and F2 would be that. So there's two different ways to do it. While you have the selection pointer highlighted or showing, you want to select A all the way to F2. Or you can simply click on A1, and then while holding the Shift key, you can hold on F2, and then we'll select the whole selection. It is your choice how you want to do it. So alignment launcher will be in the home. I'm going to launch it, and then under horizontal, choose center across selection. What it does, it will merge all of these cells and center the text in those selections. Select and delete row 8. So a row handler is a right pointing solid black arrow. When you click on the row number, you can see that when you right click, you have the option to delete that entire row. So there's many different ways to delete a row. That's how I choose. You can choose whichever your favorite is. Use the fill handle to complete a series. So select B3. So I see week 1 here. So logically, this would be week 2, week 3, week 4. Instead of typing, there's a way that you have that fill handle and you drag it across. And then right now you can't see it, but it'll fill it for you. And I'm going to select the column name and then double click. And as you can see, it fills week 2, week 3, week 4. That is a series. Use the fill handle to complete series 2, week 4 in column E. And AutoFit, done. Use the AutoSum. So now we're starting to use the formulas. Um, my video blocking everything. Okay, so the AutoSum button in cell F4. So you go to the Formulas tab and look for AutoSum and click that and select Sum. So you can see the formula automatically populated for you the sum of B4 through E4, which is this entire row of numbers. And that is good. The entire selection of numbers, as you can see. That looks good to me. That's the formula. Now calculate and hit enter. And then once that formula is there, as you can see, it says B4 through E4. So if I drag the formula to the next sheet, what happens to this formula? It automatically becomes B5 through E5. So Excel adjusts the row numbers and the column numbers based on how you drag your formula. If you drag it down, it will increase the row numbers. It will, if you drag it horizontally, in this case, like you did, it will do the column numbers, increase the column numbers. So let me just go ahead and drag it all the way through F5 through F16 into what I'm asked. So that's all I'm going to do. So delete the contents of F17 if you copied the formula. I didn't, so I am just going to skip that step. Select B17 to F17. Now, earlier we did one cell at a time and then we drag the formula. Another way to do it is actually have your whole selection and then move on some. So now we have all our values in there, and that is called a quick analysis. And we don't want that, so press escape and it's gone. And there you go. So now format the labels and the values. So select A1 through A2. Remember, when we did a center across selection, the whole thing is A1. It's not A or F anymore. It's the whole thing is A1. This whole thing is A2. So A1 and A2, and increase the font size to 18. So I want to go back to home and increase it to 18. So when I did that, it kind of looks like it's squished. So we have to increase the row height. So increase the row height of columns 1 and 2, rows 1 and 2 to 24. Two different ways of doing that. Right now, I'll show you one way, another way, I'll show it in just a minute. So with these two rows selected, I right click and I go to row height and I manually enter 24. That's one way of doing it. Format cells A3 to F3, which I'm going to click on A3, hold the shift and click on F3, and that will select the whole A3 to F3 cells. And then make it bold. Now increase the row height to 18. So earlier I right clicked while I had the row pointer. Now you can look for that resize arrow. And while you're resizing, you can see the height and the pixels. So right now they want me to do the height as 18. So I'm going to keep dragging until I see 18. Ooh, ooh. And I'll stop when I see 18. So center the data cells in B3 to F3. So select B3 through F3, and then I'm going to do a center on them. Format cells B4 to F16, B4 all the way through F16 with comma style, and decrease the decimal 2 times. So let's look for the comma style. And decrease the decimal. So that increases the decimal, that decreases the decimal. So I'm going to decrease it 2 times and done. Select B17 to F17 and apply the accounting number formatting with no decimal places. So B17 through F17, I'm going to do accounting number format. So I can go to general, I can go to accounting, but it puts two decimal places. So I'm going to remove those decimals. Or another way to do it would be to go launch this and look for accounting. And here you can reduce the decimals to two. Two different ways of doing your choice. So don't worry when you see these pound indicators that you messed up something. It's just that the numbers are there. They're just not, there's not enough room to display them. So when we adjust the width of that column, you can see those numbers. So apply all borders to A3 to F17. So A3 all the way through F17. I'm going to do a border and choose all borders. When I do that, autofit columns B through F. So whenever it says columns, we look for the column pointer. If I can get that right. And then double click and it'll resize and everything is upon size and you can see your numbers right there. Now finalize the worksheet. So next step is to do the header and footer. So header and footer are in the insert tab. So I'm going to unselect that and insert. Where is it? Yeah, that's what I was worried about. Okay, so I will go to the header footer. So this top part is the header and this is the left section, center, and the right section. So it wants me to go to the right header section and insert the sheet name. So I'll go to the right section and look for sheet name. There it is. While though it puts a metadata in there, when actually you change your sheet names, this value will change accordingly. And go to the footer and click the right section. So at this point, I'll go to footer and then in the right section, I'll type first name and last name. So you can click a cell in the worksheet and return to normal view. So I'm going to click anywhere else and I will return to normal view if I can see it. At this point, I think I can see it. I'll maximize it for just a second. Go back to normal and then minimize it again. Okay. Center the worksheet horizontally on the page. So we go back to page layout and margins, no, orientation, print area, can't remember. Okay, I'm going to launch that one and I'm going to look for margins and center on page horizontally and click OK. Now, copy and rename a worksheet. Right click on the January sheet tab, choose move or copy. So we can choose to, I'm going to have to maximize this because I cannot see the tabs. So I can copy or move any worksheet. So in this case, I'm asked to move it to the end and create a copy. So, and then rename that copy to February. So double click on that will let you change the tab name and you right click on that. You can also change the tab color. So when I hover on it, the tooltip will tell me the color that I'm supposed to do. And dark blue accent one, that's what I want. So there we go. So we moved copied, we make a copy, we renamed it to February and we changed the font color. Delete the values in cell B4 through E16. Make sure you have the right sheet selected. Don't delete it from January. B4 through E16. So we want to keep our formulas for the sum intact. So I saved it. Control home will always take me back to the first cell, first column. January, I can manually go to first cell, first column, or I could type control home and it'll take me there. Okay, so preview. So once you print preview, you can see whether your sheet is organized horizontally. And yes, that looks good. And go back and save and close the workbook. That's it. So I'm going to go here. Since all my instructions are done, I'm going to upload my file. And yes, submit the file. Okay, so that's that. I hope that helps you all.